Hello and welcome to Rosary WMD, Weapon of Mass Destruction Against the Evil One's Lies. Today we're going to be looking at some predictive programming from music from back in the day and from music that's more current. And we're also going to be looking at a couple of videos from Mr. William Tapley of Third Eagle Books to give some context. I recently watched some of his videos, his older videos, and I discovered some things afterwards, and I thought I'd share that along with you all on this program. So let's go ahead and head over to the presentation. I put together a PowerPoint presentation to share these findings. I think you'll find them also to be very interesting and fascinating. So we are going to, on this program, ask the question that Mr. Tapley asks is, will the Antichrist come from Istanbul, Turkey? And so let's go ahead and take a look at, first of all, one of Mr. Tapley's videos. This video was published back on May the 30th of 2009. It is titled Bible Prophecy, The Antichrist Will Come from Istanbul, Turkey. We're going to watch just part of his video. He gives a very compelling claim that the Antichrist will come out of Istanbul, Turkey. And we're going to watch the section where he talks about what the word Istanbul, or what the city is, what it means. So let's take a look at this video together.
Turkey. It's interesting to look at the meaning of the word Istanbul. Bethlehem, as you know, means the city of bread. And Jesus is the bread of life. He referred to himself as the bread which came down from heaven. Would the meaning of the word Istanbul also refer to the Antichrist? But would anyone ever give their city an evil name? But they might give their city a name that has no meaning whatsoever. And Istanbul actually is a meaningless name. It does not signify anything. It simply means in the city. We might express it as downtown. Istanbul, as far as meaning goes, is meaningless, and therefore a very good indication that the Antichrist will come from that city. So why is it important for us to know where the Antichrist comes from? It's important because at the current time, there are so many candidates whose names are bandied about as being possibly the Antichrist, when they cannot possibly be the Antichrist. People like Hillary or Bill Clinton or Henry Kissinger or Tony Blair or Juan Carlos of Spain or, of course, our own Barack Obama. None of these people come from Istanbul, and none of them can be the Antichrist.
All right, so let's go ahead and head on to the next slide here. I pulled this from the web. It says, what does Istanbul mean? And it says it actually derives from a Greek phrase which literally means, quote, in the city, or, quote, to the city, or downtown, which is quite fitting because of its role as the cultural and financial hub of Turkey. Now, when I recently watched Mr. Tapley's video and he mentioned it meant downtown, the first thing that I thought of was the very popular oldies song by Petula called Downtown, and that's where my investigations began. So let's take a look at this particular song, which I'm sure many of my audience is very familiar with. It was a very widely popular song. In fact, I think it won a Grammy. It's called Downtown, written by the composer and record producer Tony Hatch. Let's look at the lyrics, which are also very fascinating as well. They say, when you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown. When you've got worries, all the noise and the hurry seems to help, I know. Downtown, just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Linger on the sidewalk where the neon signs are pretty. How can you lose? The light's so much brighter there, and so on. I highlighted the words, of course, downtown and in the city, which is that's what Istanbul means. And what's really interesting is we know that when you're feeling alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go, not downtown, you can go to Jesus. And when you've got worries and all the noise and the hurry, it seems to help that we know, not downtown, but Jesus. So there seems to be a sort of comparison here. What's also very interesting is Downtown was re-released in 1988, which is a very odd year, and we're gonna look at that a little bit deeper here. So here is the cover of this particular remix of Petula Clark's Downtown, 1988. First of all, 88 could be expressed as 8 plus 8, which equals 16. There's another 6. If you look down in the corner, there is a time. It's in the hour. The hour is pointing at the 9. The minute hand's pointing at the 12. Of course, we know that a 9 can be flipped 180 degrees and look like a number 6, and 12 can be expressed as 6 plus 6. So there is a hidden 666 right there in the corner. But is there another hidden 666? Do you see it? Well, I actually didn't see it at first, but a couple more times looking at this particular image, I did notice that there is another hidden 666 in the artwork of this album cover. Let's take a look at it now. Right there in the middle. Do you see those 2 hash marks in the white part on the left that are in black? And the 3 white dash marks that are in the black? Well, there we have an expression of 2 before 3. And of course, if you have been following Mr. Tapley at all, or this channel, you know that 2 before 3 represents or yields the decimal 0.666, which is another 666 hidden in the artwork of this particular remix of Petula Clark's Downtown. Here is another album cover. Nothing's real too interesting about this album cover. I think it is a 45 because it has Downtown as side A and Baby It's Me. What's interesting about the side B or the side B song is Baby It's Me, and the fact that they use the word it's. Now, why am I interested in the word it's? Well, if you know anything about popular culture, a lot of slogans use the word it. And let's take a look at some of the examples that we might find in popular culture. First of all, we have Cheese It. Okay, who doesn't love Cheez-Its? We also have Burger King, have it your way. Make it a Whopper, which is kind of reminds me of Frank Sinatra's song, I did it my way. Coke is it. We have Truck Fit, which is actually I believe this was started by Lil Wayne, the rapper. And what's interesting is the Truck Fit, it's a fashion company. The Truck Fit, the TRUKFIT, is actually an anagram that stands for the phrase, the reason you kill for it. Now, who are you really, or what are you killing for? It. The evil one. Of course, McDonald's, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Nike, just do it. And I thought this one was interesting. It's fast, it's cheap, it's 88% beef. There's that 88 again, coming from Taco Bell. It's fast, it's cheap, it's 88% beef. Taco Bell. And then, of course, Stephen King's famous horror novel, just called It. And if that's not an evil image, I don't know what one is. What's also interesting is Petula Clark performed her hit song, Downtown, which I just realized the word hit song has IT in it as well, hit song, Downtown 3 years after its release on the Dean Martin show, and it was his 50th episode. As you can see down here in the description of the title, it was episode number 50, 1967. Her the song was originally released in 1964. Of course, we know that 50 is Mary's Rosary, which is our solution to it, or the Antichrist. Now let's watch another video. This is about a more not a more popular song, but a more recent song that Mr. Tapley did a video about here. So let's watch this together.
So now let's look at the other big viral hit of the summer on YouTube, and that is Call Me Maybe. And there are 4 very significant phrases in this song. The first one is, hey, I just met you. This is crazy, but here's my number. Call me maybe. Let's look at those 4 phrases separately and see how God is revealing to us the name of the Antichrist. Hey, I just met you. Now the I in this case refers to the Antichrist. And just meeting you means that he is revealing himself. This is the Antichrist's entrance into the end times. And this is crazy. That's the 7 years of tribulation. Remember back in Daniel chapter number 4, King Nebuchadnezzar goes crazy or insane for 7 times. He lives among the beasts and eats grass. The beasts that he lives among are the 2 beasts of the Revelation, the Antichrist and the false prophet. Those are the 7 years of insanity, and this is when the Antichrist is going to reveal himself during those 7 years. But here's my number. And of course, I think it should be obvious to you what the Antichrist's number is. His number is 666. And he is not talking here about a telephone number. He is talking here about his number of the beast, which he is going to give to every one of us. That's what he means when he says, here's my number. And the last phrase is really the most interesting. So call me maybe. Now he is not saying call me on the telephone. What the Antichrist is saying here is, my name is maybe. Call me maybe. Now what's interesting is that Nostradamus also called the Antichrist Mabus. Is there a connection between Mabus and maybe? So these 2 words for the Antichrist, Mabus and maybe, are not identical, but they are very similar. They both begin with the letters M-A-B. Now I know some people say that Obama is the Antichrist, and they say that the B, A, and the M are reversed in his.
So let's go ahead and go to the next slide here. So back to Petula Clark. So I showed you one downtown is a reference to the Antichrist coming out of Istanbul, Turkey. But would you know, she also, 35 years before Call Me Maybe, had a song called just simply Call Me. And here are the lyrics to her song. And by the way, this song, Call Me, was written by the same producer, record producer who wrote Downtown, Tony Hatch. If you're feeling sad and lonely, there's a service I can render. Tell the one who loves you only, I can be so warm and tender. Call me, don't be afraid, you can call me. Maybe it's late, but just call me. Tell me, and I'll be around. And then, of course, the one that you just saw Mr. Tapley talk about was from 2011. Hey, I just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe. So what's very interesting here is that call me and maybe are in this particular song as well. Petula Clark's song called Call Me, which was 35 years before Carly Rae Jepsen's Call Me Maybe. Now, thinking about Nostradam actually means, quote, Our Lady. He was born in 1503, which if you remove the 0, you have a 153. And we know on this channel, of course, that 153 Hail Marys are recited in a 3 Mystery Holy Rosary. Now, let's take a look at his particular it's called a quatrain, which is a 4-line stanza. And this particular prophecy of Mabus was found in Century 2. It's called Century 2, quatrain number 62. Mabus then will soon die. There will come of people and beasts a horrible rout. Then suddenly one will see vengeance, 100, hand, thirst, hunger, when the comet will run. And so what's interesting about the numbers of where this particular prophecy is found is it's found in Century 2, quatrain number 62. So let's take a quicker look at that. Century 2 could be expressed as 200. Quatrain, of course, qua means 4, and it was found in quatrain number 62. If you add up 200 plus 4 plus 62, coincidentally, it equals 266. And it just so happens that Pope Francis is the 266th Pope. Is that a coincidence? Of course, Pope Francis cannot be the Antichrist, but perhaps the false prophet. So, call me maybe, Mabus, Nostradamus and the Antichrist, codenamed Mabus. Well, that's all I have for you. I just wanted to share these connections that I found between Mr. Tapley claiming that the Antichrist will come out of Istanbul, Turkey, which means downtown, Petula Clark, and her connection to the song Call Me Maybe, which Mr. Tapley also did the video about earlier. So thank you all so much for checking out the video, and God bless you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.